Lewis Hamilton just exposed Ferrari, and what he revealed after post-season testing has left the paddock in absolute disbelief. According to Hamilton, Ferrari's data wasn't just flawed, it uncovered a deeper issue with the car's balance that no one saw coming. If this leak is accurate, Ferrari's entire 2026 development could be built on a false foundation, and they may already be months behind rivals. We're breaking down exactly what Hamilton revealed, how it affects Ferrari's future, and why no one's talking about it, so hit that subscribe button now before the truth gets buried. The post-season test in Abu Dhabi is usually quiet. A few laps, some tire compound experiments, a bit of aero mapping, nothing more. But this time, it ended with a shockwave. As Lewis Hamilton left the Ferrari garage just weeks before his official 2026 switch, a comment made off mic but picked up by a nearby crew sparked a chain reaction. What he said wasn't about comfort or pace, it was about something far deeper. A fundamental flaw in Ferrari's 2026 development path, hiding beneath the data, and now made public. This wasn't the typical driver feedback loop. What Hamilton uncovered during the closed session testing wasn't just a balance issue. It was a systems-level problem that Ferrari hadn't caught or hadn't admitted. He reportedly flagged inconsistencies between the simulator response and real track behavior, particularly in mid-corner torque delivery and energy recovery blending. In simpler terms, the Ferrari was telling one story behind the screen and a very different one on the asphalt. That discrepancy doesn't just affect driving feel, it can destroy reliability planning and race strategy. The fact that this information comes from Hamilton, one of the most technically articulate drivers on the grid, gives it weight. He's worked with championship-winning development teams, understands simulation architecture, and doesn't overreact to minor fluctuations. So when he reportedly told Ferrari's engineers that this will cost you in race 3, not race 20, it wasn't a guess. It was a targeted warning suggesting that under load, the new system might collapse performance early in the season, long before software corrections or hardware upgrades could be deployed. Behind the scenes, Ferrari has gone quiet. No statements, no technical clarifications, no media access beyond surface-level PR. That silence is telling. Normally, a team would either deny the claim or downplay it. But this time, Ferrari seems to be waiting, possibly scrambling to retest the system Hamilton flagged, or worse, rewriting part of their integration map based on his input. The irony? Their future star driver may have just exposed the very weakness his team is trying to hide. What makes this even more complex is that Ferrari's 2026 architecture was already considered conservative. While Red Bull and McLaren have been exploring aggressive packaging and aero-linked hybrid control logic, Ferrari stuck closer to a traditional model. Their strength was supposed to be reliability and consistency. But if that model is now compromised by flawed energy blending, something that affects throttle modulation, rear stability, and tire life, then Ferrari not only loses their advantage, they may start 2026 on the defensive. This test session also raises awkward questions for the FIA. Post-season data is technically private, but once a driver speaks publicly, even informally, about what happened in a compliance sanction test, the information enters a gray zone. If Ferrari made a mistake in how their systems were configured, and Hamilton's comments point to a potential regulatory gray area, the FIA may now be forced to intervene. That could lead to audits, delays, or even a review of early development approvals granted under the 2026 Technical Directive. And through all of this, Hamilton himself is walking a fine line. As a driver still under contract with Mercedes during the test, but preparing to join Ferrari, his position is unique. He's not just a test participant, he's a future stakeholder. That means his critique wasn't sabotage. It was a warning. A brutal, honest, technically grounded warning from someone who's seen championship cars built the right way and knows exactly when something isn't adding up. The most alarming data to surface from a post-season test concerns energy deployment timing, specifically how the new Ferrari chassis handles the blend between the internal combustion engine and the MGUK during throttle transitions. According to sources close to the telemetry team, Hamilton flagged erratic torque spikes in mid-corner phases, where the car should have been delivering a smooth and predictable power curve. Instead, the Ferrari would surge unpredictably under partial throttle, not enough to cause immediate instability, but enough to unsettle the rear over a race distance. That type of behavior is a silent killer. It degrades tire life and forces a driver to drive defensively instead of attacking. This issue is more than just calibration. The real concern lies in what engineers call hybrid phase lag. It's a delay between the driver's throttle command and the energy recovery system's response. In modern hybrid F1 cars, this timing must be razor-sharp within milliseconds. What Hamilton felt, and what the data appears to confirm, is that Ferrari's 2026 system introduces a measurable delay under certain conditions, especially in tight, low-speed corners. That lag could cost tenths per lap, and over the course of a season, that's the difference between fighting for podiums and sinking into the midfield. Beyond power delivery, Hamilton reportedly highlighted a sharp mismatch between simulator results and real-world balance. This disconnect is critical. Teams use simulator feedback to plan everything from race setup to aerodynamic upgrades. If the simulator predicts stable corner entry, but the car dives or snaps in reality, every setup decision becomes a gamble. According to internal data, Ferrari's sim environment was running 5% more rear grip than the real-world car delivered. That's not a small gap, it's a full-blown correlation failure. And once the simulator can be trusted, development becomes chaotic. Braking performance also raised eyebrows. Hamilton noted micro-instabilities under heavy braking, especially in medium to high fuel runs. These weren't obvious lockups, they were inconsistencies in pedal feedback, the kind that hint at variable battery draw or incomplete brake-by-wire harmonization. In F1, every braking phase charges or discharges electrical systems. If those systems aren't mapped perfectly, braking field changes lap to lap, which wrecks driver confidence and damages consistency. Ferrari's data appears to show fluctuation in regenerative braking thresholds, a dangerous red flag under the 2026 rules. One particularly concerning data stream involved the car's differential response in mixed traction zones. Ferrari's 2026 prototype seems to use a more aggressive differential preload map, likely to improve launch performance and rotation. But Hamilton reported sharp rear-end snapping when applying throttle on corner exit, especially with used tires. If that's baked into the current software map, Ferrari may be sacrificing long-run drivability for short-run rotation, a trade-off that rarely pays off over a full season. Worse, if it's a mechanical flaw masked by software, the fix could require physical redesign before homologation. Thermal behavior also raised technical concerns. During longer stints, surface temperatures around the battery housing spiked beyond simulation expectations. The battery isn't just an energy store, it's a heat source, and managing that heat under 2020's reduced cooling allowances is a major design challenge. Ferrari's package may be too tightly packaged for airflow, relying on a cooling loop that doesn't scale under full race loads. If Hamilton felt the car fading on lap 12 or 15, this could be why thermal saturation that reduces energy harvesting and compromises power unit efficiency. Finally, all these technical concerns converge in one brutal truth: Ferrari's 2026 test car is behind schedule. Hamilton's feedback, backed by the telemetry he helped generate, reveals a development project that's not just early stage, it's structurally undercooked. The car may be fast in short stints or in simulations with ideal conditions. But the real-world package under race loads, in high-heat scenarios, with evolving grip, isn't ready. And if Ferrari now has to rework major systems before pre-season, it's not a matter of polishing the edges. It's a matter of survival. Inside the Ferrari garage, the moment Hamilton's feedback circulated, the tone shifted. What had started as a celebratory session welcoming a 7-time world champion into the red team quickly turned into a crisis of confidence. Senior engineers were pulled into closed-door meetings within the hour. The data didn't lie, and worse, Hamilton's interpretation of it aligned with weaknesses already flagged by Ferrari's own test reserve team. Except this time, it was public. A superstar driver had just voiced what Ferrari had hoped to quietly fix, and now they were behind on both performance and perception. At the center of this response is Enrico Cardile, Ferrari's technical director. He now faces the impossible task of defending a system he helped architect, while simultaneously convincing internal staff to pivot quickly and without panic. According to sources in Maranello, he's ordered a full audit of the simulator correlation models, the hybrid power delivery maps, and the cooling package assumptions. It's a move that signals urgency, but also vulnerability. Once a department is told to audit its own assumptions, it means the original foundation is no longer trusted. The software and systems integration team has also gone into full lockdown. These engineers rarely get headlines, but they hold Ferrari's electronic architecture together. Their job now isn't optimization, it's containment. Every parameter flagged by Hamilton has to be revalidated. Differential maps, MGUK deployment timing, brake-by-wire behavior, all of it must be proven compliant and consistent. And while the hardware may still be viable, the trust in its orchestration has been damaged. That means weeks, maybe months of retesting just to recover internal belief. Meanwhile, strategy directors face a very different challenge: public silence. Ferrari cannot afford to acknowledge Hamilton's claims publicly. Doing so would confirm that something fundamental was missed. But saying nothing invites speculation, and in Formula One, silence is rarely interpreted as strength. The PR team has been instructed to frame the test as a valuable learning process, but internally, that phrase has become code for emergency troubleshooting. Their greatest fear: that other teams, now alerted by Hamilton's warning, are already redesigning their systems to avoid the same trap. The human factor inside Ferrari cannot be ignored either. Drivers and test staff who believed the 2026 Mule was on the right track now face doubt. Charles Leclerc has already tested early-stage components, is said to be frustrated but focused, knowing that if Hamilton is right, Ferrari's 2026 campaign risks falling behind before it begins. Engineers, many of whom spent months validating simulations, now find their work under suspicion. The emotional cost of this kind of exposure is rarely seen by fans, but it directly affects development speed and inter-department collaboration. Adding complexity is the fact that Hamilton is both a guest and a future cornerstone of the team. Ferrari now has to walk a delicate line, respecting his insight without admitting public error. Internally, some view his criticism as a gift, a chance to correct course early. Others see it as a breach of locker room trust. And while Hamilton didn't break any official NDA, the nature of his feedback, direct, clear, and echoed by data, makes it impossible to dismiss. Ferrari must now decide whether to quietly shift direction or publicly stand their ground and risk being proven wrong on track. All of this plays out under relentless time pressure. With just weeks until the 2026 homologation freeze, Ferrari must decide what to fix, what to mask, and what to gamble on. Every adjustment now risks causing knock-on effects in packaging, cooling, and aero balance. And with McLaren and Mercedes already showing stronger simulation reliability, Ferrari may have no margin left. One mistake in testing can be corrected, but a structural flaw, exposed by your incoming driver, that's a crack that spreads unless handled with total precision. Ferrari's next move may define not just 2026, but their reputation for the decade to come.